0.3 of a second. Jean-Ray Detoy in car number 737 is in third. He's another 0.3 of a second further back. Then let me just see, is that the gap, or yes, it's the gap between each of them, or the gap from the leader it is. So Sean Olivier in fourth position. Stanton Augustus had a good, as we said, a race meeting as well last time out. He's in fifth with a 149.7. Adrian Nel in sixth, a 149.9. Jandre Dippenaar in seventh, a 150.2. Julian Brains is in eighth position, a 151.17. Donny Stander in ninth position, a 151.7. Peter Geldenhuys in 10th position, a 151.97. Peter Marais 11th at a 152. Wayne Kruger in 12th position, a 152.4. 13th is Stan Besaidnout, IBFUSA, our sponsors, a 152.876. Weasel Diesel, Vessel Fillion, is in 14th position, a 153.25. Donny Bellafronte has just been bumped down, as have quite a few others. Let's see who's gone up in the front. We'll have to catch it on the second time. I think it's Antonio de Lima has gone into 8th position, and I don't think I gave him a mention the first time round. A lot of guys leaving the qualifying very late. Still 6 minutes 40 to go. So where was I last? Donny Bellafronte now in 16th position. Hello, Javi. Lucky number 13 for Javi in 17th position. Marius van Wyk, number 77, a 155.3 in 18th. JP still here. He's, I think, busy completing a lap. He has a 155.9. He'll hope to improve on that. Dirk, now I've got to get my facts together. Was it Roo? Yeah. Dirk Coetzee, he's in 20th position on the grid, driving a Porsche, and so is Donovan Vermaak, number 21 on the grid, and they're both running 2 minutes dead virtually. Sorry, Dirk is a 2 minute 00.1 and Donovan a 2 minute 00.3. So if you take the gap between them at a 2 minute versus a 148.9, then there's a gap, but I think they'll still be learning the track. Gerrit Beekes is still quickest, a 148.9, still 0.3 of a second quicker than Chris Collison.
Unfortunately, having to record everything because of the software decided to go ballistic again and not wanting to stream. Clearly the internet is working fine, the server is working fine. Sean and I are communicating much better than we were earlier today, and yet the software won't allow me to stream to YouTube.
The picture is good, the small print. If you take Gerrit Beekes' car that's on circuit in front of me at the moment, in the BP Racing colors, previously I wouldn't be able to read that fine print of BP Racing, crystal clear right now. Collison jumps into pole with a 148.688. So Gerrit Beekes down into second, Jean-Ray Detoy in third. So they are certainly fighting it out. Let's have a look at the clock. 4 minutes 40 to go.
Adrian now the fastest middle sector and a personal best first. Let's see how he comes across the line. Let's see, I imagine he'll jump up near the top or even fastest. Let's see, does it?
So Adrian's in sixth position at the moment and he goes up to fifth.
Yeah, terrible last sector there. Threw it all away. Yeah. Looks like the Porsches aren't having it all their own way at this track like they did the previous Nürburgring. They really dominated.
Yeah, they were quick.
We have Sean Olivier in fourth place. He's jumped up nicely because in the practice I think he was 7th, 8th. Wasn't really there in the times. Now his times are looking a lot more promising. 6/10 off at the moment.
I think I'm just having a look at something that I think Dirk, who's dropped off now that or does it only show the top 20?
I think it'll show the top 20 and then it'll cycle 21st to whoever else is there. Who isn't? We only have 20 in the server at the moment anyway, so that is the current full field.
The one thing that I have noticed is that the way that Dirk has entered his vehicle and number, if we could get everybody to do it that way, then we've got the driver name, the car type, and the number on visible, whereas for the other guys, the way they've entered theirs, we don't have the car type visible. We've got the number and the name of the driver, but the driver name is duplicated out of the driver column and in the vehicle column. So I'm not sure how and why that should make a difference.
Is that on the live timing?
Yes. If you look at the bottom of the live timing, number 20, Dirk, shows Dirk as his name. And then obviously the class is GT3 for everybody, but he's shown as a Porsche 911 GT3 R and number 37. So we have his name in the one column and the car and his number in another column. So we don't have the vehicle types of any of the other competitors in the vehicle column.
All right, just 2.5 minutes left to go. We have a yellow flag at the moment. Peter Murray, special for second place in the Namibian Motorsport Federation race this afternoon.
Yeah, there was a bit of a accident before the race even started, which let the top three get away. And Peter was one of the beneficiaries, I think, and he fought hard, and he certainly did have a great race. At Silverstone, they were, but we are at MOTEGI, and MOTEGI, an interesting circuit in that it's, my count, depending how long you determine a straight to be, there are probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, at least 6 straights, and then about 13 corners. So probably the track with the most sections of straight circuit. I think they would probably battle with esport racing to recharge the batteries here, because you're not on the brakes very often. And the straight that leads back, there's a bit of a chicane, not a chicane, but a left, and then another very sharp left, and then a right to get into the main straight. The back straight before that is a long straight. You're going to be flat out. So I think this is a horsepower circuit, and the quickest car is going to be the one that's going to win it. And that back straight, certainly, I wonder what speeds they get up to at turn 11.
I would have thought Ferraris would be good here, because I think they have good top end. Porsches everyone goes on about, but also the Ferrari has good top end.
Yeah. Stanton Augustus, of course, is in a Porsche, and he is up to 6th position in the qualifying, number 997. His teammate Donny Bellafronte is in 16th, number 996.
He's on a good lap, personal best in the middle sector. It's only shy a little bit of his personal best in the first sector. Of course, this track is called Tochigi in the game because they don't have the legal license to call it Twin Ring MOTEGI, but it is in the town of Tochigi, or Tochigi, however you pronounce it. The track is owned by Honda as well as Suzuka.
You see it on the
Comes up to 4th place there.
start line.
Yes.
I think that they're in now is turn 1, and luckily it breaks away. But these guys will still get the lap in. The last two that we saw cross the finish line. Anybody that comes up to the finish line now, this is the last chance to set up a good lap. Chris Collinson leads by 0.225 from Gerrit Beekes.
Donovan Vermaak
into
just joined, so
third.
and one driver's now in the server.
Donovan was out and back in, and him and Dirk were the two that I said whatever route they follow to put in their vehicle type is preferable to me rather than duplicate the driver name. So they have it, which helps for commentary, and we can find out from them probably how they did it and then get everybody else to follow suit. I think the others, by the looks of it, put the number and the driver name again, rather than the car type and then the number. But nonetheless, we'll go with what we've got.
Fastest middle sector overall by Adrian Nell now on this lap. So I think he's on for a flyer, and he puts, as I say that.
I think you'll probably be happy with third. And in driver's briefing, it was mentioned that it wasn't mentioned that the straight before going into the start is actually very long. So that'll give you ample time to warm up your tires, get into the position. Then they'll go through that left, right, and then wait for the lights. The pace car will already be off between turn 12 and 13, which is the turn 13, the last corner. And hopefully they'll stay in position so that they don't have a bunching up as we've had previously. Wayne Kruger in the Mercedes.
All Alright, we're going to jump to an ad break because they've now finished, but we'll be back with you shortly.
Right.
Are you or someone you know a victim of a car crash, or a legal professional seeking help in a crash investigation case? Look no further than IBF International. At IBFUSA, we specialize in at-scene crash evidence preservation, evidence analysis, crash reconstruction, and court testimony. We have over 20 years of experience in at-scene and post-event crash investigations in most of Southern Africa and the rest of the world. We not only provide assistance to crash victims and legal professionals, but we also offer training to those who wish to pursue a career in crash forensics. Our goal is to empower our clients with the knowledge and tools they need to navigate the often complicated world of crash investigations. Our slogan is IBF International. The facts speak for themselves, and we stand by it. We provide expert guidance and assistance to help you with insurance repudiation, expert testimony, and trial assistance. We believe that the facts should always be the driving force in any crash investigation, and we are committed to providing you with the most accurate and thorough analysis possible. If you're looking for an expert to guide you through a crash investigation, look no further than IBFUSA. For more information or to engage our services, visit our website at www.ibfusa.info.
Welcome back, everybody. We are now live for race 1, which of course is a 6-lap sprint race. This is the IBF GT3 World Series. This is round 3, coming to you live from Twin Ring MOTEGI for our 6-lap sprint race. I'm your commentator Dennis Mitchell, joined again by Sean Woodgate. Good evening, Sean.
Good evening, Dennis. It's going to be a lot of fun. The sprint race is going to be fun, which will determine the start for the endurance race.
Yes, and of course this is Twin Ring MOTEGI, so it's a kind of long circuit with a lot of long straights, so it should, as Sean has mentioned, favor the cars that have a bit more horsepower. Just have a quick brief look at our standings. So in our veterans we still have Maurice van Wyk leading from Andre Hildebrand, who I'm not sure is in the race at the moment, actually I haven't seen him here, and then Harvey Koos. And then our pro division we have Chris Collison from Jason Underwood, who's not here tonight, and Timo Smith, who's also not here tonight.
Might shake up the leaderboard a bit after tonight's races.
Yes, indeed. It looks like Chris is going to have a much larger advantage then. So Chris in provisional pole position from Harriet Bukes, Adrian Nell, and Stanton Augustus. Jean-Andre de Toy in 5th place, Sean Olivier in 6th place, Yandre Dupenar 7th, and Antonio de Lima in 8th place. In 9th place, Julian Brains, Peter Geldenes in 10th place, Donnie Stander 11th, Peter Murray in 12th. Thirteenth place, Wayne Kruger. 14th place, Stan Bezadenhout. 15th place, Wessel Viljoen. 16th place, Donny Ballafronte. In in 17th place, Harvey Coast, 18th place, JP Salia, Maurice van Wyk in 19th place, and Dirk Kutzer in 20th place. And in 21st place, Donovan Vermaak.
What is nice to see is that the lap scoring monitor fits on one page, so we can see everybody at a glance. And also with the top left tells you what lap you're on and how many to go. When it's an endurance race, it will tell you the clock that's running down, which will help as well. Let's see if Chris Collison bunches them up nicely for the start. Still a long way to go before the start. As we said, this track has quite a long, well, it's not the back straight, the last straight before they go into the mini complex that leads into the start is plenty of time to get heat into the tires and get into position proper.
Speaking of tires, they do have several choices for tires, and it is color coded. So red is soft, yellow is medium, white is hard, and blue is wet, which we are not likely to see tonight. That is the color coding that will be in the list on the left when the race gets started, so you can see clearly what tires the drivers are on. This is the sprint, so I'm pretty sure everyone will be on the soft tires.
Except for Sean Olivier, who's on hards.
As we go
on
now.
mediums.
Right, races go.
Right, looks like it was a good one. There's 3 abreast, which they'll get sorted out hopefully going into turn 1. And yeah, at this stage, Chris Collison and Gerrit Beekes seem to be away from the rest.
There. Someone's just lost the wheel.
Yeah, that's not going to restart. So that was turn 2, I think it was. We were talking too soon. Looking forward from Sean Olivier's car in 6th position. He's got Stanton Augustus just in front of him, and then John Ray du Toit in front of that. As we said, this track has many straight sections. Oh, the Aston Martin goes off of Chris Collison. Is Gerrit Beekes close enough to follow? I don't think so. He managed to just survive that. He has actually quite a substantial lead ahead of Gerrit. And then it's Adrian Nel in what in my vision looks like an orange and black car. So Gerrit Beekes in the BP Racing colours is pushing hard, and looking back from him, he has Adrian Nel with a Porsche right behind him. So it'll be very close racing. As Dennis did say, it's a sprint race, 6 laps. So as we did think everybody on softs, for some reason Sean Olivier decided to go out on hards in the sprint race. Maybe he thinks, well, there's not that many corners. I don't think that the softs will come under any strain.
Getting very close there is Adrian.
Under braking it is, but then the Aston, as soon as it gets under the powerway, the Aston seems to get out of the corners very well. But Chris Collison also using the circuit very well. He's using the apex and then drifting out onto the curbing. So, of course, he's been around a while. So this is lap 2 that they're on to now. Yellow flag in sector 2. That must be some of the back markers that got caught in that first lap fracas.
Looks like we have a few DNFs. Antonio De Lima, I guess it was him that lost his one wheel, so he's got a DNF.
He had a decent start qualifying. He's the one that I ran through where they were at one stage, and then he popped in, which meant everybody else shifted down. If you look now, what's happening, Gerrit Beekes is losing touch with Chris Collison. It's 1.8 seconds, 1.9. I wonder if Gerrit isn't finding himself defending from Adrian Nel, and that allows Chris Collison to get away.
Sean Olivier also on the attack, right up behind Stanton Augustus at the moment, I believe it is.
Yeah.
You can see as they flick the car and how the backing comes around and gets into a slight drift, and then they power slide it out of the corner. That seems to be the fastest way to get around the corner.
Yeah, and if you know that the next bit that's ahead of you is a straight, which gives the tires that you've just lit up, it gives them time to actually cool down as you go down the straight. So it's at 1 minute, well, for 1 instant they're hot when you're sliding out of the corner and accelerating, and then if you're going in a dead straight line, they cool right down again. So you're not going to be as bad. If you were to do the same thing at Silverstone, as an example, you'd destroy them pretty quickly because there's very few straights at Silverstone.
Here's a Mercedes battle brewing here between Wayne Kruger and Donnie Stunder.
Oh. Donnie Stunder in 11th, Wayne Kruger in 10th. And they go across the line now and fighting it out amongst themselves.
New fastest lap for Chris Collison, a 1:49.80.
First car going to the 149s in race trim.
Barrett just did the fastest middle sector, but someone I think it's just beaten that because it's going green, purple, green, purple. That usually means it's just been beaten.
A lot of guys, as they proceed and the fuel load goes down, they get greens in the sectors, so that's personal bests, but it doesn't add up too much to make the fastest lap differ, which does go to Chris Collison. And as we said before, 1.7 seconds Chris Collison away from Gerrit Beerkes, but only 0.8 of a second between Gerrit Beerkes and Adrian Nel. So that second and third battle is keeping them honest. John Ray de Toy, the Boeing Brigade number 737, is also only 0.6 of a second away from Adrian Nel. That's for third and fourth. So battles happening all over the show.
Yeah, the different tones of the car is also quite fantastic. The whine of the Porsche versus the deep, throaty sort of sound of the Mercedes.
Yeah, they certainly, if one would look in theory at the collective value of the 21 cars that we have on circuit, Javi Gous has also done a DNF. So we have 19 cars remaining on circuit. But what I was saying, theoretical collective value of these 19 cars, it would be a pretty packet. I would think I could retire on that.
I refer to as the gentleman's club, this. Most of the real world racers that race GT3 have lots of money in their pockets.
Yeah, I think it's a... And if you have 10 million euros, you probably have 10 million euros too few. Or not enough. And I think if you do have a coming together like that, it could be expensive. It is a sprint race, so we're on, I think this is then lap 5, or does it display the laps completed or the lap you're on?
I think it's the lap we're on, so we're on lap 4 at the moment.
Yeah, so interesting stuff.
Jean de Toy, fresh off his victory this afternoon, looking solid at the moment for a 4th place, challenging the guys in front of him, having a good battle there, so he could potentially wait for the right time to pounce. As they are fighting, he could maybe gain 2nd place in the end.
Yeah, the Boeing Brigade number 737 and 777 are easily recognizable, but I think 777, you said, is not racing tonight. So they have that lime green that nobody else has, the lime green and black. And looking ahead of Jean-Ray de Toy, just going to find him, is Adrian Nel. So this is the battle that you're looking at, is Gerrit Beerkes ahead of them. So it's Gerrit, Adrian, and the car we're in is Jean-Ray. So that's 2nd, 3rd, and this car is 4th. So very tight racing in this sprint race.
Another view that we do have, let's see if I can find it.
Maybe from Jean-Ray, looking forward and backward.
Just something random before we get back to that. This is a view from Julian, and we also have Julian's feed tonight. Unfortunately, once again, whenever he has his feed, never seems to be in a battle that we can use it often enough, but that is Julian's feed tonight. He's gone to an ultra-wide monitor from VR. He was having problems with his VR, so going back to his screen, we can now see him. He's got his room nicely lit up with fancy lights so that we can see him clear enough. Really nice monitor that he's driving on.
You can see that for a long time the drivers do nothing, and then they fight the car through the corner, wipes a bit of sweat off the brow, and then gets going again in the high revolution racing car of his. Here's Julian looking forward. It's a left and a left again. A bit of straight. Right, as we said, twinning MOTEGI called twin ring because it has an oval circuit, which is 2.5, just about 2.493 kilometers long, and then this circuit 4.8 kilometers. Just for relevance, it's twice as long as Swartkops Raceway, which is 2.4 kilometers. Chris Collison, I wouldn't say he's off into the sunset, depending who is where on the circuit. Aaron Bierkus is 1.7 seconds behind Chris, but I think because the race is so short, that's a fair margin of safety, and I don't think Harrod is going to try and catch him. But what could change is Adrian Nel only 0.2 seconds behind Gerrit Bierkus. That changes to 0.4 as they go through. Yes, first, second, third, fourth, fifth. So second, third, fourth, and fifth is everything to go for. Yellow flag in sector 2, so there will be no overtaking at the yellows. But certainly they are pushing hard. Adrian Nel trying his utmost to get P2, just a touch of the brakes going into the straight there, just to settle the car. Adrian Nel, number 15, you see the number nice on the bonnet. And in front of him, that BP Racing car of Gerrit Bierkus just seems to get away on the straight, but battles a bit through the corner. The back end stepping out. So this is turn 1, turn 2. They've exited. They actually call it 2 turns because it's a right-hander, a little bit of straight, and then right again. You'll have a very similar for turn 3 and 4, left, straight, and left again. It's nice to follow here, then I can at least call the corners as they come. Now you've got a fairly long piece of straight again before they go into about 120-degree right. Yeah, they'll be fairly hard on the brakes, although not too hard. And then it's a straight again before they get to a fast sweep, turn 6. Here it is. And then there's a 90-degree, although it's not a sharp bend, that's turn 7, a 90-degree left. And certainly Adrian is trying to make use of it, trying to put the car up on the inside, has the door slammed in his face. Then there's a very sharp right-hander, which they've gone through already, which I've missed. And then the left, which is turn 9, they come to now. Now there's a straight bit where the guys can actually flex their fingers and the tires can cool down all the way up to turn 10. And that's a hairpin that they've got to go through. And then that long straight where I think Adrian is well placed to slipstream unless the BP Racing car has the grunt to stay ahead of him, because this goes dead straight all the way down to turn 11, and the Porsche's up on the inside and it dives through, but does it drift wide? We'll have to wait and see. It uses more than the track. So has the BP Racing car got through again? No, I don't think it has. Adrian Nel up. There was the BP car on the inside for a minute. They're going to be neck and neck.
Oh, really rubbing. Here comes Jandre as well, trying to get past.
So I think John Ray might have got one of them.
And Stanton gets past as well.
Yeah, so
Adrian Nel ending up in 5th place only.
yeah, so Adrian was running so long, so hard, but he was being attacked. And certainly that one slight mistake, well, it's not a mistake. I think Gerrit was very clever as to where he positioned, Jean-Ray was very clever as to where he positioned the car. And an interesting result.
We have Morris and Vake in 14th place. Morris, of course, leading the Veterans Championship.
So he'll be consolidating that more than likely.
Right behind him we have Wessel Viljoen. And the only McLaren 650S on circuit is JP Celia.
Quite a pricey car. We were talking about price earlier. Not many of those around.
Dirk losing it into the barrier there.
Looks as though he's able to go, so he will probably be classified as a finisher. Donovan having nice Bumblebee colors on his car. That's Porsche 911. And the results that we have here will determine the starting grid for the 1-hour endurance race.
Right, and then Stan Bezuidenhout, who was, I think, the driver that spun, that caused the incident at the start, managing to come across in 19th place, and Harvey unfortunately got a DNF, so that's the last of our finishers. So we'll head to an ad break and then restart the grid and be back shortly.
See you then.
Are you or someone you know a victim of a car crash, or a legal professional seeking help in a crash investigation case? Look no further than IBF International. At IBFUSA, we specialize in at-scene crash evidence preservation, evidence analysis, crash reconstruction, and court testimony. We have over 20 years of experience in at-scene and post-event crash investigations in most of Southern Africa and the rest of the world. We not only provide assistance to crash victims and legal professionals, but we also offer training to those who wish to pursue a career in crash forensics. Our goal is to empower our clients with the knowledge and tools they need to navigate the often complicated world of crash investigations. Our slogan is IBF International. The facts speak for themselves, and we stand by it. We provide expert guidance and assistance to help you with insurance repudiation, expert testimony, and trial assistance. We believe that the facts should always be the driving force in any crash investigation, and we are committed to providing you with the most accurate and thorough analysis possible. If you're looking for an expert to guide you through a crash investigation, look no further than IBFUSA. For more information or to engage our services, visit our website at www.ibfusa.info. Are you or someone you know a victim of a car crash, or a legal professional seeking help in a crash investigation case? Look no further than IBF International. At IBFUSA, we specialize in at-scene crash evidence preservation, evidence analysis, crash reconstruction, and court testimony. We have over 20 years of experience in at-scene and post-event crash investigations in most of Southern Africa and the rest of the world. We not only provide assistance to crash victims and legal professionals, but we also offer training to those who wish to pursue a career in crash forensics. Our goal is to empower our clients with the knowledge and tools they need to navigate the often complicated world of crash investigations. Our slogan is IBF International. The facts speak for themselves, and we stand by it. We provide expert guidance and assistance to help you with insurance repudiation, expert testimony, and trial assistance. We believe that the facts should always be the driving force in any crash investigation, and we are committed to providing you with the most accurate and thorough analysis possible. If you're looking for an expert to guide you through a crash investigation, look no further than IBFUSA. For more information or to engage our services, visit our website at www.ibfusa.info. Are you or someone you know a victim of a car crash, or a legal professional seeking help in a crash investigation case? Look no further than IBF International. At IBFUSA, we specialize in at-scene crash evidence preservation, evidence analysis, crash reconstruction, and court testimony. We have over 20 years of experience in at-scene and post-event crash investigations in most of Southern Africa and the rest of the world. We not only provide assistance to crash victims and legal professionals, but we also offer training to those who wish to pursue a career in crash forensics. Our goal is to empower our clients with the knowledge and tools they need to navigate the often complicated world of crash investigations. Our slogan is IBF International. The facts speak for themselves, and we stand by it. We provide expert guidance and assistance to help you with insurance repudiation, expert testimony, and trial assistance. We believe that the facts should always be the driving force in any crash investigation, and we are committed to providing you with the most accurate and thorough analysis possible. If you're looking for an expert to guide you through a crash investigation, look no further than IBFUSA. For more information or to engage our services, visit our website at www.ibfusa.info. Are you or someone you know a victim of a car crash, or a legal professional seeking help in a crash investigation case? Look no further than IBF International. At IBFUSA, we specialize in at-scene crash evidence preservation, evidence analysis, crash reconstruction, and court testimony. We have over 20 years of experience in at-scene and post-event crash investigations in most of Southern Africa and the rest of the world. We not only provide assistance to crash victims and legal professionals, but we also offer training to those who wish to pursue a career in crash forensics. Our goal is to empower our clients with the knowledge and tools they need to navigate the often complicated world of crash investigations. Our slogan is IBF International. The facts speak for themselves, and we stand by it. We provide expert guidance and assistance to help you with insurance repudiation, expert testimony, and trial assistance. We believe that the facts should always be the driving force in any crash investigation, and we are committed to providing you with the most accurate and thorough analysis possible. If you're looking for an expert to guide you through a crash investigation, look no further than IBFUSA. For more information or to engage our services, visit our website at www.ibfusa.info.
Welcome back, everybody. We are now back for race 2, the feature race for tonight's event. I'm just waiting for that to go away. Right, let's just get that one away, get that one away. This is now the feature race. So joining us again for the IBFUSA GT3 World Series, coming to you live from Sim Experience South Africa. This is a 60-minute feature race from the Twin Rig MOTEGI in Japan. I'm your commentator Dennis Mitchell, joined once again by Sean Woodgate.
Good evening, everybody.
This is our schedule for the season. Unfortunately, tonight we've had some technical gremlins with the stream, so we've had to record, so it'll be uploaded later. Or when you're watching this, it would be now. And now, standings for the veterans: Marius van Wyk, Andre Hildebrand from Harvey Coast. Top 3 in the main championship. Overall championship is Chris Collison, Jason Underwood, who has now rejoined for the feature race, and Timo Smith.
Who isn't here?
Isn't here, that's correct. Let's have a look at our starting order for this race. So, Chris Collison in pole position from Gerrit Bukes. Jean-Louis du Toit, he got that amazing third at the end. Stanton Augustus, who also managed to slip past on Adrian Nel. So Adrian Nel will be starting in 5th place. Sean Olivier in 6th place, Andre Dupinard in 7th, and Julian Brains in 8th. Then in 9th place we have Donnie Stunder having had a good race, Wayne Kruger in 10th place, Peter Geldenhuys in 11th, Donnie Belafonte in 12th, Peter Murray in 13th, Marius van Wyk in 14th, Wessel Viljoen in 15th, JP Salier in 16th. Dirk, one of our new drivers, that's why there's no profile picture next to him. Then Donovan Vermaak, also a new driver. Stan Bezuidenhout, Harvey Coast in 20th. Antonio De Lima in 21st, who unfortunately lost a wheel at the start of the previous race. Jason Underwood joining now, and Sean Johnson also joining now. So they are at least able to join the races now. So 23 drivers in the race.
That Underwood will hope to get up to the top. He'll be the Batman, or he'll be Robin for Chris Collison, the Batman, in the team harder racing. But he's got a lot of cars between himself and his teammate Chris Collison, and he'll have a lot of work ahead of him. Also drives the Aston Martin, and a big field as they go for the start, I think it is.
Yep, it's go, go, go.
1 hour from now, we'll see who's going to win this one.
Oh, getting very wide there into the middle there.
As long as they stay clear, there's a spin already. I think it's one of the Boeing Brigade that might have gone round, because I think it's only them that run that lime green color scheme. The Aston Martin, I think, is in the lead at the moment. Chris Collison, yes, he is. And he's got the BP racing car of Gerrit Bukes right behind him. Sean Olivier in 3rd. So there's been a change. there's the other of the Jean-Ray de Toy, number 737. So I'd wager that it's 777, but he's not racing tonight. So it can't be him that has spun round. But certainly it looks
Wayne losing it there.
Yeah, this track has a lot of straights, but some of the corners, well, many of the corners are 90-degree short straight and 90-degree again, as we see them rejoining, I think, at the back of the field. Not quite far behind 2-3. So Wayne Kruger getting it back all in one piece, thank goodness, at Mercedes.
I think Antonio de Lima, one of the drivers that was affected at the start. Ooh, looks like he may be pulling over.
Yeah.
Not sure what's happened there.
So yeah, that car I think something's broken on it because he's battling to keep it. There he goes off the racing line again. He's actually all over the racing line. And I think it's Marius van Wyk behind him. Maybe they had a coming together and they're getting that sorted out.
Yeah, possibly. All right, let's get back to the action at the front. You see Jean-Ray de Toy all over the back of Sean Olaf here.
He's defending for what he's worth. Jean-Ray's right there on him, the Boeing Brigade, number 737. It's a right-hander, so he's got the car well positioned, but he has the nose chopped off. Not quite, but he just didn't have enough up on the inside to claim the corner. So Adrian Mel is in 5th position, but of course this is an endurance race and we're not quite sure whether it's going to be tires or fuel that could be a factor in this race, because with the number of straights that they'll be running at full throttle for a long time, a large percentage of the lap. So you might actually run out of fuel before you run out of tires.
Great battle going on here between Sean and Jean-Ray. Of course, Adrian sitting there, the complete opposite of the end of race 1, where he was at the front and the guys managed to get past because of how he was squabbling. Now he's at the back looking at the guys squabbling in front of him. And it's for the same position.
He's biting. Oh, he actually tries to run up the inside, but I think decided the better of that, and that might lose him a position to Stanton Augustus, but it looks as though he managed to just hold that position. Stanton was quick last week, and certainly that Porsche car number 997 does go very, very well. So Stanton will be chasing very hard to get up to and pass Adrian Nel, if at all possible. Stanton missing the apex of that corner, running wide very early, but still staying on track. But that allowed Adrian to
Looks like
get
a little bit of a connection issue there for Adrian, which maybe threw Stanton off a bit.
Yeah, we've seen that before for Adrian in some of the previous races, that his connection seems to jitter. There he does again and disappears. So I think what Stanton needs to do is just run his own race, and we'll see where Adrian reappears or not. So Marius van Wyk is a DNF already. So that was car number 77, and he's not going to be taking any further part in this race. Stanton now, well, it says chasing Adrian now, so the server still thinks that Adrian's there, but visually we don't have him. But Stanton sees ahead of him Jean-Ray de Toy.
At the moment, I'm seeing him there, so maybe it's settling down again.
Okay, so wait and see. What's Chris Collison up to? 1.6 seconds that he's got in Gerrit Beekes, and that's early in the race. So maybe he's running, just to give you an idea of who's running what in tires. Chris Collison is running the mediums, then 1, 2, 3, 4 cars behind him. That's Gerrit Beekes, Sean Olivier, Jean-Ray de Toy, and Adrian Nel are all on the hard compound. Stanton in the Porsche, his 997 car is again on the medium compound, hard for Jan-Ray Dipnaar, medium for Julian Brains. Then Peter Murray is on hards. 3 cars thereafter are on mediums. Donny Bellafronte, Wessel Viljoen, and Jason Underwood. Jason from at the back of the pack up into 12th position already. So he's doing really
Speaking
well.
about Jason, I'm just watching the other Aston here. Jean-Ray having a go here at Sean, getting really, really close now. Is he going to be able to get it alongside this time?
I'm not sure what the rules are regarding the A pillar and the B pillar, but I think with this corner being left, he's got it. If he's just going to stick it out there.
Sean's placed his car beautifully up the inside now of this one, but Jean-Ray carrying the momentum.
Yes. So this is where it's actually a bit of not just left and left or right and right. It actually has 2 sections, and that's the one that goes into the front straight. So that was out of turn 11. And that's that long straight that's between turn 10 and 11 where you can slipstream and put your car alongside quite early already. So Adrian now, he's been in 5th position for quite a while and he's looking at the back end of Sean Olivier's car. And of course, this being a 1 hour race, things can and probably will change before the end. But the battle in front of them for Gerrit Beekes and Jean-Ray de Tooy for 2nd and 3rd, they're keeping each other busy, which means that Chris Collison leads by 2.5 seconds already.
One of the cars stranded on the side,
Yeah. So that's probably the yellow that we see in Sector 2. It's been removed. So I'm not sure. Let's have a quick look down the leaderboard whether the car has potentially DNF'd. It's still only Marius van Wyk that has a DNF. So that car maybe got going again.
I think that was Tony de Lima that was maybe just slowing for the guys to come past.
Okay. Yes, he's 2 laps down. So Donnie Stander in 20th is 1 lap down. Tony de Lima is 2 laps down, as is Donovan Vermaak. So that's
quite a good battle here for these guys.
Yes.
And of course, right in the background there we have Stanton Augustus now joining the party as these guys are squabbling here, and Chris is now getting away, so he's scampering off into the horizon.
Yeah, 2.4 seconds already from between him and Gerrit Beekes.
And of course, Jason Underwood coming through the field, as you had mentioned, up to 11th place now. Really working his way through.
If you look at his fastest lap, a 152, compared to the cars ahead of him in the 159s and 157s, so the chances are he's going to make up 3 or 4 positions pretty soon as well. Jason's got Donny Bellafronte in front of him. Donny had a good race last time, I do recall. It was Stanton actually in that team that had such a good race.
Getting on the podium, yeah. Getting defensive.
I decides to take the right-hand side because that's the blocking line into the corner, but the Aston just gets past like a breeze.
Now I think he's going to have Sean Johnson, who's coming up through the field. He of course missed the first race thanks to load shedding, but he is in the second race.
It's 1.6 seconds that he's behind Donny. So Donny will know that he's there. Lovely looking car.
Beautiful. McLaren 720S.
Yeah, and he has the Fach Autotech eSport car to get to. He's still got a bit of a distance to go, but certainly it's going to be a race worth watching.
Jason's managed to get up to 9th place already.
I did say...
Sorry, Sean?
Sorry, I did say that he's got a couple of guys that are quite a few seconds slower than him, and his lap times are in the 150. Well, his last lap time was, his fastest lap was 152, and his last one, in fact, that was his fastest lap, was the last lap, so he's just rolling along merrily. The next to target is Julian Brains. So he's running a bit in isolation. Now look at Sean Olivier in 4th position, mounting a challenging 4th position on Jean-Ray de Tooy.
That's good racing, bumping each other just enough to not have any issues, but being aggressive while being respectful.
Yeah, you want to at least get to finish the race or get to the next corner piece.
That's good, hard, competitive racing, leaving just enough space, leaning on each other. That's good to see.
Yeah. It does mean that Stanton catches up to them a little bit because they'll be holding each other up. Is that the balloon going overhead that we see the shadow of? But it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars that are battling for position, and certainly the Boeing Brigade number 737 is in 2nd. Then it's Gerrit, then Sean Olivier, Adrian Null, and Stanton Augustus. So if you look at the last lap times, are 153 for Stanton, so he's slower than the cars ahead of him by only 0.2 of a second, 0.4 of a second. So he's keeping in touch. And here again, we have the two competitors right there with each other, and the one just doesn't get given any room to come back. And that means Stanton's going to get past him. So Adrian now in the wrong place at the right time for Stanton to make up a position. And that's purely because Adrian Nel didn't have any position to get back on Sean Olivier. Sean Olivier just held the line that he was on, and Stanton was facing curbing and grass, which is not very good for race grip.
I think Sean was just giving him as little room as possible, and Adrian just got a little bit too much on the grass, and it pulled the car off, and then that's it. He lost momentum.
Yeah. So pass already for Stanton. We have seen his capability in the racing last weekend. So certainly, and the one thing we do know about the Porsche is that they can make those tires last. And as we said before, this race, we don't think it's going to be attrition with the tires. It's going to be how frugally it sips the fuel. 1 hour is a long way to go. Just have to about sip the fuel. I think I've got to go and get myself some water, otherwise the voice is not going to last an hour.
Your own fuel, motion lotion.
Yeah, it's funny, in commentary over the years I've discovered that cold water doesn't work. It's just room temperature water is the best thing to have, just to keep the throat lubricated, especially when you have an endurance race like this that you keep gurgling for quite a while.
Sean Johnson catching up to Johnny Belafonte at the moment. Sean generally comes good in the races. He's quite cautious at the starts, takes it easy, and he's there to make it to the end. He's one of these drivers that uses his head. Some drivers just get in there, put foot. Some of them have the capabilities, but Sean is one of these drivers. He's always a thinking driver, and there he goes past.
On the brakes.
I think Donny was very lenient there, just gave him the space nice and early. And Sean is off.
Donny, I think, wants to make sure that he finishes. It doesn't make sense in defending the position if you know that you're not that well placed. So there's a nice battle behind them, though. I've got to find out who it is. Wayne Kruger, Vessel Falloon, and a little bit further back is Peter Murray. Now, Peter Murray had a stunning day earlier today. He's a little bit further back now. He's in 14th position. I think he had a second in the feature race in Namibia, or for Namibian Motorsport Federation. The blunt-ended, what I call the blunt-ended Mercedes-Benz.
Very plain livery, very difficult, sort of a matte black, hard to see the shape as much, but if you look at Donny's one, you can see just how blunt it actually is.
Yeah, it has hardly any overhang at the back, and very similar to one of the touring cars we had earlier in the year in the Toyota. You see that the wing is actually mounted onto the car rather because it doesn't have any boot of note, that you actually have the wing onto the back end of the car.
Speaking of Donny, this is Donny, of course, in his pretty amazing looking car. I quite like this livery with all the little logos of the Mercedes star all over it.
He's taken time to design that one. So Donny Stander in 20th position, not having a great night, 1 lap down. The DNFs are Tony De Lima, Donovan Vermaak, and Marius van Wyk. Now there's all the honeycomb structure of Donny Stander's layout of his car number 243. It's actually 24 from what we've got. No, that's Tony De Lima. 243 is Donny Stander. My mind.
We're fighting for 17th place here with Dirk. Two of them having a nice battle.
Harvey will be at you for all the time as long as he's got a car that's on the road. He goes for the inside line, but Dirk is out the corner quick enough. So they take the racing line from the extreme left to the extreme right, which makes the apex for these two. Oh, and then Dirk loses it. So Harvey just stuck it out. He wasn't that close. And Dirk just managed to lose it all on his own. I'm not sure what went wrong there.
Yeah.
So Dirk is going to drop down possibly to below. Well, Donny Stander was a lap back. So we'll have to wait and see. This seems to be settling now into the BP liveried car is getting away from everybody else behind him. So these three are keeping each other busy. That's Stanton in the Porsche, Adrian Nel, number 15, and then Sean Olivier, number 137. Those three, as they cross the line, are keeping each other busy. But Gerrit Beekes and Jean-Ray Detoy are away, and Chris Collison is 3.3 seconds ahead of Jean-Ray Detoy.
I think we must keep an eye on that gap. I think that gap has come down between Jean-Ray and Chris.
It's now down to 2 point. It depends who's going, as you said, who's in the corner, who's in the straight. But having just said 3.3, it went to 2.9. It's back to 3.3 again, but seems to be stuck there. I'm just going
need to keep an eye on that and watch that battle as it unfolds. Oh, here comes
You can just-
Adrian up the inside of Sean. Very
Yeah,
late
it's
dive, nicely
payback.
done.
Yeah. Also just a touch, but full body to full body. So it's not a tap. And coming up with him is Stanton Augustus. So in one foul swoop, 2 positions lost by Sean Williford.
You got to be so careful when you're defending so hard how quickly you can lose out because of it. You just lose momentum and everyone pounces when they're so close to you. Now Stanton is on the attack. Can he go with Adrian?
It's going to be very interesting to see. If you can just carry commentary for a second, Dennis, I'm just going to grab some water.
No problem. You go sort your throat out. At the moment, Stanton catching up to Adrian, hanging in with Adrian. Let's see if they can catch up to Gerrit. Gerrit seems to be really decent on pace at the moment with a 152.1. They were 152.3 for Adrian the previous lap, and that was including his pass. And Stanton behind was also a 53.1. So perhaps now that they've got past Sean, who was definitely defending and I would assume slowing them down, they're going to catch up now to Gerrit. So Gerrit will now go from driving in clean air to suddenly having to defend, as we can now see Adrian is right up with him, so they definitely are catching up to Gerrit. Adrian's already looking like he's ready to attack. Gerrit having to go defensive already. See him locking up slightly, just a little bit of smoke coming off the front right, I believe it was.
Just go for a bit of water and the whole scenery changes on the racetrack.
Yeah, it's amazing as soon as they cleared Sean how they straight away caught up with Gerrit within a matter of probably 2/3 of a lap. They were right with him.
So that's very interesting to see. And Gerrit is over 3 seconds behind Jean Ray, who in turn is over 3 seconds. That seems to be staying constant behind Chris Collison. But these 3 cars are having a good battle, and I think Gerrit is going to be coming under pressure very, very soon. Or you've been commentating, he is already under pressure. And we've only done 18 minutes, so if the tires are getting to be a problem, which I doubt, maybe the cars are getting quicker now with a reduction in the fuel load. So that, of course, if they go in for fuel, the question will be, do they go in for fuel and tires? Can they do that all in one stop? Is that a pass? Yes, it is. There goes
Adrian and Gerrit. Now
yes.
Stanton's turn.
Yeah, and it was a very clean, just under braking maneuver, no squabble about the corner, just get it over and done and away he goes. Here comes Stanton now. Can he do the same thing? Because is Gerrit potentially battling with grip?
So now the thing is, or the question, sorry, not the thing, excuse the language. Can Adrian catch up to Jean-Ray? He's now 3.6 seconds behind. He certainly has the pace. He's pulled away very, very quickly from Gerrit, as we now have Stanton going up the inside.
In pass. Can he hold? He drifts wide, so I don't think he does. No, it's back again.
Smart driving there by Gerrit, just keeping the car tight, letting Stanton drift wide. And he's now got the inside. I think Stanton's got momentum to go around the outside as he does.
Yeah. When you take that inside line, the corner tightens on you. And compared to the car that's going through the outside, you get that slingshot. Because you've got such a wider arc, you can maintain higher speed than the car that's going through the narrow corner, as it were.
So Adrian now, nice gap to close. Still 3.5 seconds. It was 3.6 a moment ago. So maybe the pace he has was just over Gerrit, not over Jean-Ray in front of him. So we'll just see how that pans out.
One thing we missed in all the fun of the fair is the quickest lap in this race so far is now Stanton Augustus with a 150.773. Not sure what lap he put it up on, but he's running mediums. The 2 cars ahead of him and the 3 cars behind him are all running hard. So the question is how long, but we've known that Porsche to be very good with tires. So if he can get the tires to last, then he's well positioned.
Yeah, that's a good time. 6/10 faster than what Adrian has achieved in front of him.
Yeah.
But
If you
yet,
look at the
strangely enough, he's got the fastest lap, but yet it looks like Adrian is pulling away from him.
Yeah. if we look at the last lap, Adrian did a 151, almost a 152, and Stanton did a 153. But I think Stanton had to do the pass, and that'll potentially be why it looks like Adrian's getting away from, although they both did the pass. So we'll have to wait and see once that normalizes again.
I thought that was Chris, but it's actually Harvey in between. So Andre catching up to Chris there.
Harvey will probably drift wide and stay wide, knowing Harvey. Yeah, stays wide. Now it's up to the other guy to actually pass him. He's middle of the road, so it's, take your pick. Onto the racing line again, which he's allowed to do. The other guys have got to run their line to get past him. So where is Harvey? He's in 17th position. So, and last of the cars that are still running in the race proper, he's a lap down. So he'll probably get a flag soon, a blue flag, to allow the other cars to go past, because he's holding up 737, which is Jean-Ray Detroit in second. What did that cost, Jean-Ray?
Quite a lot, because Adrian is now right with him, and he was 3 seconds back. He's now a second back. But now Adrian going up the inside, that's where the advantage has gone to Adrian. He's able to get past Harvey, because Harvey is now alert to the guys coming past.
Yeah, Adrian was past Harvey a lot quicker than what Jean-Ray managed to get past him. So definitely a disadvantage to Jean-Ray. But at this stage, 38 minutes, just under 38 minutes to go. And it'll be interesting to see in the next 7 minutes is halfway in the race, whether any of the cars come in and what they do in fact come in for, whether it's fuel. The other thing is if you do take on fuel and not tires, then you're back to a heavy fuel load with old tires. So not sure what they say in the regs for this race, but do they take on fuel and tires, but probably not at the same time.
It's up to the drivers. It's purely driver choice. The race is long enough where it can be achieved if you really drive very, very softly, that you can stretch the tires out. I think if you're on the hard tires, you might go to the end, but I don't think the fuel makes it to the end. So the guys have to decide. They probably have to go for a splash and dash fuel. Do they want to keep the same tires on? Because changing tires is a lot slower than just putting fuel in. Because they only do the one or the other. They don't put the fuel in while the tires are being changed. So if you go for tires, they've got to do the tires, then they stop, because there's a limit to the number of guys that work on the car.
Same as at Le Mans.
Yes.
You get the guys changing tires, and once the tires are changed, then they step away, and you get the guys that do the refuel.
I think Wayne is now starting to pull away slowly from Vessel, because the gap was smaller. So Wayne slowly, I think, pulling away.
Over a second now. So, and also as you can see it on the road, that he seems to be getting away from him a little bit.
His lap time, the previous lap time, was about 4/10 faster than Vessel. So I'm not sure if they had maybe swapped places in the last lap before that, but at the moment he's slowly creeping away from Vessel. I don't think he's got the pace to threaten anyone ahead of him, because Donny on the last lap did a 53.6, so that's a second and a half. Well, sorry, not a second. Yeah, about a second and a half faster. But Wayne seems to be getting quicker and quicker by the lap.
Interesting battle still on for second and third. Jean-Ray Detroit in second and Adrian Nowell in third. We were talking earlier, or you mentioned that Adrian is one of those guys that just gets the job done. He's not the dash on the first lap sort of character. Here's Jason Underwood, who's catching up. He's now into 8th position already. Remember that he didn't do the sprint race, so he started at the back. And if you look at the last lap, a personal best of a 151.6. Now, the two cars ahead of him did 53.8s, both of them. So he's 2.2 seconds quicker than Gerrit Beekers and Sean Olivier. For some reason, we didn't get a lap from Jean-Ray Depenard. It might have just been off track limits or something, and then it doesn't give him the lap time. But certainly Jason is catching up, and I'm trying to find, he is the total gap between himself and the race leader. I don't think he's displayed, but certainly he has quite a bit of, he's right onto Jean-Ray Depenard. It's 0.6 of a second. As I said, Adrian Nel in third is only 0.7 of a second behind Jean-Ray du Toit. So there are a few battles going on the track. Those two battles are noteworthy. Second and third, and then fifth and sixth. And then also, Jason Underwood, 7th and 8th behind Andre Dippenaar. Here's Adrian Nel chasing for second.
Getting quite heated throughout the field. Lots of battles starting to brew. I guess tyre wear is starting to become a factor, depending on how the drivers have chosen to drive. Adrian getting very, very loose there.
Yeah, and the more loose you are, the heavier it is on the tyres. We did say that there's a lot of straight sections which give the tyres a chance to cool down. But once the rubber's gone, the rubber's gone. So the ultimate grip that you have through any corner that you really need the tyres to lean on them, if they're not there, then they're not there. So Jason Underwood up into 7th. Has he just gotten past Andre Dippenaar?
He has, yes. As we look the way he made the pass.
So certainly he's fighting for all he's worth. And interesting to see how you can come from further back. Is that Javi in front of him? Javi stays wide. Well done, Javi. Javi stays wide for everybody and lets them through. So Aston really stretching its legs here. You're going to see what Jason Underwood in 7th position. He now has a bit of a gap to Gerrit Beek. It's about 7.9 seconds. So that'll take a while. Let's just look at the lap times. Jason last lap of 52.9, Gerrit of 53.8. So it's 0.9 of a second. And at that rate, it'll take him 8 or 9 laps to catch up to Gerrit. But the chances are with clear track, he might make it quicker. Certainly something to aim at. I'm sure he'll have that in his ears from his pit crew. There's the Boeing Brigade, number 737, Jean-Ray du Toit. Is that Adrian Nel? Yes, it is, in the bright orange. So Adrian is a second or so behind Jean-Ray, and Jean-Ray is 3 seconds behind Chris. So that stayed about constant. We spoke about it a few laps back. It was 3.3 seconds. So Chris Collison first to Jean-Ray du Toit is now 2.9, 3 seconds thereabouts. But Adrian Nel is now 1.3 seconds. That's car number 15 from Jean-Ray du Toit, the lime green and black number 737.
I'm sure he's going to be getting a little bit concerned now because Adrian is catching him. He's also catching Chris. I think Chris has maybe been slowed slightly by traffic. The gap was under 3 seconds again. But Adrian's under 2 seconds and Stanton is 1.5 back from Adrian, so gaps are getting close.
If you look at the last laps, Chris Collison did a 152. I won't worry about the seconds. Jean-Ray, did a 151.6. Adrian did a 152 dead, and Stanton did a 151.7. So as you were saying, and Sean Olifield put in a personal best of a 151.6. So the top 5 are closing up on each other. It's becoming a concertina effect. And I think there's a very big mental change that happens in a driver when you can actually see the competition ahead of you, what you are actually chasing. So Adrian Nel, as we said, 1.3, 1.4 seconds. Jean-Ray has brought that 3.3 seconds down. It dips to below 3 seconds every now and then to 2.6. So also depending where the two cars are on the track. But fighting really hard is Adrian Nel now. He's doing it all. Although his last lap was slower than that of Jean-Ray. Jean-Ray had a 151.6 and Adrian a 152. So 0.4 of a second that Jean-Ray was able to stretch the distance. Might not sound like much, but when you're doing these sort of speeds, then 0.4 of a second is quite a bit. Under braking, Adrian's good though. You can see it close up right there. But we did mention that Twinring MOTEGI has a lot of straights. So if you've got a horsepower car and you just wait for this straight and you put foot and you get away, it doesn't help when you put left wheels on the gravel, because then your grip is not going to be so good and your speed out of the corner is going to be affected. Adrian's just biding his time. Drifts a bit off the apex there a bit early. That means he gets to the next apex also a little bit early. But nonetheless, keeps the car in a straight line.
Lap time wise, Chris was on a 51.9 on the previous lap, 52.1 for Jean-Ray, a 51.4 for Adrian. 52.0 for Stanton.
So Adrian, the quickest of the top 4. So that's the one we're looking forward out of. And he's chasing Jean-Ray de Toy. That 737 car, the green one. So this is second, or the car in front is in second position. And the one we're looking out of is in third position. So with 29 minutes, we've just passed the halfway mark of this race. And we'll see what's going to happen and when. Of course, being at halfway doesn't mean this will be the exact time. Some of the guys will wait until 45 or 50 minutes and then do whatever change they're going to do. I foresee if anybody is going to change tires in the last quarter of the race, they might even go to softs if they think the fuel is going to last. There we see the tires. Thanks, Dennis. Who's on what? Chris Collison is on mediums, 2 cars behind him on hards. So it seems to be a fair mix. And the Richard Cillier, who's on JP Cillier, who's on mixed compound. I think it's hards in the front and softs.
I'll just put the tyre selection up just so that everyone can see. I mean, the left is pretty descriptive with the H and the M. Just in case you didn't know, there's some on softs. I see Richard on the soft rear and hard. I mean, that's kind of a strange. Most guys have gone with hard and medium, or hard or medium.
It was the question that Donnie asked, I think after or was it before the previous race meeting, whether you can run mixed compounds. And I think the reply was yes, in GT3, in this rules for this racing, you can actually run mixed compounds. But normally, I think on road proper, they'd run all 4 tires the same compound.
Curious to see how Chris handles the full length of the race. Chris has upgraded, courteous of a direct drive wheel from his missus. He's now driving a direct drive wheel, which has got much heavier force feedback. And he said he is struggling slightly with it. He has turned it down a bit. But let's see if fatigue becomes an issue towards the end of the race.
Yeah, that's if you race 2-wheelers. On motorcycles, the guys talk about arm pump, is because you sort of cramp in the arm in below the elbow. And if you're driving a car, although this I think is a forgiving circuit regarding that, because you're not in the corners you actually get chances where you can take the hand off the steering wheel and flex the fingers. But the gap that was 3.3 between Chris and Jean-Ray is now 2.5. So Jean-Ray certainly, slowly but surely, you can eat an elephant. It just takes a lot of small bites.
Yes. Adrian getting ever closer.
Down to 0.35. That's one minor mistake from the Boeing Brigade, and Adrian Nell's going to be right there with him. See one wheel dirt as us. Yeah. And he's had a few of those that he just puts the one side of the car onto the dirt, and then Adrian Nell, he's of course right there to see it, so he'll know that that's a weak spot, and he'll know that that's a potential place to get close. And if the mistake is repeated, here's a back marker. Stan doesn't run those colors, I don't think.
Peter Geldener.
Yeah, he stays out of the way very nicely. So yes, sometimes one needs to even compliment somebody like Peter Geldener in 15th position for good manners in the race, staying out of the way of the race leaders. He certainly does not want to be an influencing factor to determine where they're going to end up. 25 minutes and somewhat seconds to go, and second and third is so close. There it's now Adrian that puts the right-hand wheel onto the dirt, so it actually goes beyond the curbing. And that'll, of course, mean that he loses some momentum.
Adrian definitely pushing the limits of the car. Definitely catching him out every now and again.
If you just look at where the light is on the car, you can see where he uses more than just the curbing. And you can see he runs it onto the curbing, which is the ideal, because the curbing is slightly sloped. So you actually use that to your advantage. The disadvantage of curb versus the tar is that the curb is painted, and the grip on paint is nowhere near as good as the grip on tar. So, but yes, the apexes, the guys tend to use a little bit of the rumble strip.
I think that curb is also, depends how much rubber is in place, and Jean-Ray getting really, really wide, putting a lot of rubber on the curb. if the curbs have been nicely rubbered up, then the grip levels aren't too bad on the curb, and you actually have the benefit of it being raised, that you can lean against it, and the compression of the suspension and obviously the G-forces, you can actually gain a bit of grip.
I think the genre mistake that you mentioned just 3 corners ago is now coming into play because the gap at times is less. Well, there you can see it. It's 0.2 of a second. At times it's sort of the length of an A4 page, but then onto the power again, and the 737 car just stretches the legs slightly on the brakes again. Adrianel, number 15, gets right up close again and plans the next maneuver. Pressure, of course, is also a very psychological thing. If you've got to defend, you might not run the racing line that you used to or you'd prefer to run. I was about to say, this is the one point where they stick the right-hand wheel over the curb, and exactly that's what Jean-Ray goes and does.
Maybe you read your mind.
Yeah.
Beat you to it.
The old circuit at Swartkops at the top of the drive-in, they actually had a benefit to hook the car over the curb, going around the corner, the left-hand corner, you'd hook the right-hand wheels beyond the curb, and that would actually hold the car onto the line. That marker comes into play again, stays out of the way.
Yeah.
Now, JP's in 14th position, so he stays out of the way of these two, and we'll see if Jean-Ray Detoy is going to hold on to second, or is Adrianel going to take that away from him?
A driver I was expecting a better result from tonight was Donnie Stander. In the practices and the previous sessions, he's actually been fairly competitive here compared to some of the other tracks. I was expecting him to be a little bit more mid-pack rather than sort of towards the tail end. He definitely had the pace here. I'm not sure what's happened to him. A pity, because he's certainly showing a bit of form on this track.
Time counts down. It's approaching 22 minutes to go, which means we have just more than 1/3 of this race remaining. And if anybody is going to do anything tire-wise, there's somebody running into the back end. Is that running into the back end of Donnie?
I'm not sure. Not sure exactly which push that is. These two seem to be getting quite aggressive with each other, so I don't think it's for position.
Yeah, certainly he goes wide and lets that car through.
Yeah, I'm not too sure exactly who's doing what there, but definitely interesting. That push does seem fast.
Yeah, if it was a back marker pass, then one would expect it to go past very quickly. But this, I think, is this Donnie Bellefront? What colors does Wayne Kruger run?
I think it's Stanton's 997, so I'm not sure why Stanton is struggling. He's in 4th place. What's happening that he's fighting with these guys?
Yeah, so it's Stanton Augustus in 4th place, car number 997. He's passing back markers, I think. But they don't seem to be staying back, as it were, once the pass is done. So is he dragging Sean Olivier in the white and blue car with him?
I think so.
Yerkes, the number 3 car behind that, they're all coming along.
I think possibly JP thought that was for position and was fighting. Maybe he thought it was Donnie.
That is quite possible.
Now, Donnie is currently in 11th place. JP is currently in 15th place, so not too far apart. So he could have made the mistake.
Nonetheless, everybody seems to get through. The quicker cars getting away. And Stanton again having a solid race. He seems to make that number 997 Porsche sing. The sunset now coming into play. Here, as you see the long shadows coming across the straight, I think that could be probably a little bit, if the sun is shining there, coming down from turn 10 to turn 11, you'll be driving into the sun. And that's a very long straight that you'll have the sun in your eyes.
Let's do a bit of an onboard and see what it's like around the track with the sun. Should be heading into the sun now, judging by the shadows.
Yeah, turns it around there. The sun is shining on the track there from the left. And if they're going to get turning more, then they're going to turn away from it, I think, now. Yes, they do. But certainly from turn 10 all the way down to turn 11, that's going to be the place where it's the worst.
Yeah. Called the land of the rising sun. Unfortunately, it's setting right now.
Right here, the shadow is directly from behind. Again, the wheel gets put off on that curb over there by Stanton. Sean Olivier just biding his time. Oh, he's hard on the brakes and he forces Stanton, sorry, other way around. Stanton on the brakes and Sean Olivier has to run wide so as to not run into the back of him, unless Sean was just a bit hot into the corner.
Yeah, it looks like he's taking more of a point and squirt style approach, diving in, turning in, and then getting hard on the throttle. And Stanton seems to be taking the more sort of smooth approach, which seems to be working better.
These guys, we spoke to Stanton at the end of the last race. They run 24-hour endurance. There you're looking into the sun now. They run 24 hours endurance races. So to them, a 1 hour race is a sprint. Yeah, the sun now becomes into the eyes, in and out of your eyes as you come into the final section for the finish line. And as they're running now, they're of course in a different hemisphere, so I've always got to get that right. But the sun sets in the west nonetheless. So, there's a lot of wheel put off on there.
Speaking about getting wheels over the other end of the curve, perfect
Yes.
example of it. Definitely rotates the car a bit more.
That means that Stanton Augustus is going to stick around. These two cars, Stanton Augustus, Sean Olivier, they are running. Stanton's on hards and Sean is on mediums. So if they're going to go the full race distance, then I think the hards will probably be beneficial. We'll have to wait and see.
Driver that I mentioned earlier that's coming forward is Sean Johnson. He's up to 10th place. Of course, Jason Underwood up to 7th place at the moment, challenging Garrett at the moment for 6th place.
Garrett in the BP livery. You can't miss it as they come through now. And here we go on board with Jason, and the Aston just cruises by. And I wonder why Garrett gave that position to him that easily. Do you think he's battling with his car?
Well, Garrett is on mediums, if I remember correctly. It's not showing it at the moment.
Yes.
I think he's on mediums.
No, Garrett is on hards.
Oh, is he on hards? Okay.
Jason's on mediums. So maybe the Aston is very kind to the medium tires. With 17 minutes to go, quarter of this race and a little bit, it looks as though nobody's going to be doing anything. Unless it's going to be splash and dash at the end.
A lot can happen in 17 minutes.
Well, I tell you, the sprint race, a lot can happen in 3 corners. We saw earlier this evening, and it did happen, certainly. And I think, was it Adrian Null that lost out in those 3 corners?
I see Jason flashing quite a lot just to let Peter know that he's there.
So, away he goes through.
Nicely done by Peter. It's rolling off slightly on the straight so that it's most beneficial to both. We have a yellow in sector 2.
Also notice how he tucked in right behind him so that he gets a little bit of the slipstreaming. Even though the car in front of him is faster, he gets a little bit of a benefit there. This is second and third once again. Jean-Ray Detoy, Adrianel separated by half a second.
And the gap to Chris is down to 2 seconds at the moment, so they're slowly catching.
Yes. So the guys with their lights on now.
This is where the drivers need to start thinking a bit. So Adrian is in third, he's catching, but second is also catching first. So if he attacks and slows them down, he ends up actually losing out. So he needs to decide, if he goes for the attacking mood, he's got to be decisive. Otherwise, it's going to slow him up and he's not going to have a chance at the win. Or you can tuck in behind Jandra, who is catching, and as the race progresses towards the end, then attack and maybe end up with a win that way as well.
3 cars you see now are first, second, and third. So after 45 minutes of racing, almost, that's how close it is. Stanton, we don't see him in view. We're looking back at Adrian now, and we don't see Stanton. Let's wait for the straight pit to see when Stanton comes out of that corner. We haven't seen him yet. So Stanton is 10 seconds behind, whereas he was pushing and holds the quickest lap at this stage, which gives him a bonus point. He's decided he's now 11 seconds, in fact, but I think he's going through the corner, which then just splits the difference or lengthens the difference a little bit where these cars were going down the straight at the time. But second and third, that's an interesting battle, half a second or thereabouts. And I don't think Chris Collison has a car that he enjoys as much as what he enjoyed it earlier in the race, considering that he can see Jean-Ray Detoy and Adrian Nel behind him.
Yes. So I think he's going to be very careful. He's going to end up losing that position if he's not too careful. 14 minutes to go. The gap is now under 2 seconds. It's definitely worrisome territory for Chris.
The fact that Sean Olivier is 11 seconds behind, that means that Sean's gotten ahead of Stanton, am I correct? Or Sean always in fourth?
I think Sean has been there a while now. That I think was when Stanton had an issue with one of the back markers trying to race him. Somehow I think Sean caught up and has made the pass.
Okay, so, but it's not, it's 0.6 of a second, so Stanton can get back at him if he has the race pace. But as we said, with 14 minutes to go.
A moment there for Adrian.
Yeah, it's that corner, that curbing tends to bite if you don't get it right. And that rhymes. So, yeah, Adrian now trying everything and a little bit too much at times. You might see that they'll consolidate for first, second, and third. But then again, with 13 and a half minutes to go, there is still a chance to change all of this. Adrian's using more of the corners, and I think the sim system will be at his throat soon if he carries on like that, taking both of the sets, left and in fact, the whole car beyond the white line at the outer edge of the curbing. So the rumble strip and some more of that.
So now we have the forward and back view. It's now from Jean-Andre looking forward and Chris looking back.
So Chris can see in his rearview mirror the two cars a little bit further back of him in second and third. And certainly it'll be on his mind that Jean-Andre Dutoy, the 737 car, is certainly aiming at the number 22 car of Chris Collison.
That sunset really does look beautiful at the moment when you see the one shot looking back and the sunset. Oh, it looks good.
Yes. Yeah, now he's got, with a rear view, you look into the sun and you realize how much of an effect it must have. As I said, downturn from turn 10 to 11. We'll keep an eye out for it there, you see it. Not a problem to the racing drivers now if it's behind them, other than I think it'll be worthwhile to put your lights on, just to put a little bit of an element to this race, that the guy in front of you knows that you are there if your headlights are ablaze. And if there's two sets of headlights that he can see in his rearview mirror, that's going to be even more daunting.
So Jean-Andre coming good once again in the race, and obviously having a brilliant race, taking victory in the Namibian series this afternoon. He wasn't so good in the sprint race, but he's definitely placed himself well in this race, and he's challenging for the win. Second shy of the win at the moment, so not always having the best of luck in these series with his connection, but tonight, so far, all looking good. The beautiful Japanese sunset. Yeah, looks amazing.
Yeah.
And that'll definitely be more of an effect to the guys driving in VR. In the VR, you can't really avoid the sunset, so yeah, you can move around in the cockpit a little bit, but in a flat screen, it's definitely not as much of an impact as in VR. It kind of blinds you in the VR, almost like it does in real life.
But what we haven't mentioned is that Jason Underwood, all the way from the back of the grid, finds himself 5.3 seconds behind Stanton Augustus. If we look at the last laps, it was a personal best by Jason at 151. It's just gone over, it was a 151 point something. He's just run a 152 dead. And Stanton has picked up the pace and has done a 151.7. So Stanton is, in fact, passed
DNF for Adrian.
Yeah.
What has happened to Adrian? He must have had an off or something.
Yeah, unless we didn't see it, or I wasn't watching, I was looking at the lap scoring monitor, which is the curse of the commentator. You try and say something off the lap scoring monitor and something happens in real life in front of you. So I just saw Stanton jump up and Adrian in 7th place, but with a DNF, so he's going to fall off the lap score. And I wonder if he's not run out of fuel potentially.
Yeah, that's possible. I'm sure he would have seen the warning and then been able to dive into the pits.
But now Stanton is right behind Sean Olivier. Now Sean Olivier finds himself on the podium, and Stanton Augustus has a potential podium that he's aiming at in front of him.
Right, so all to play for at the moment. We have a fight for the victory, we have a fight for the final podium spot. We have Jason Underwood catching up to final podium spot, 4.9 seconds back, with just under 10 minutes left.
That gap that we mentioned many laps ago between Genre and Chris Collison at 3.3 seconds is now down to 1.2. And we have 9 minutes, 30 seconds to go. So certainly going to get interesting for first and second. And it is already, as we see here in front of us, interesting for third and fourth.
And this battle as well with Donny Belafonte and Sean Johnson is a battle for 9th place. Also shaping up nice, the 1 second gap between them.
The Fach Autotech eSport team, that's the Porsches that you see, numbers 997 and 996. The 997 car is Stanton Augustus in 4th position, and 996 is Donny Belafonte in 10th.
And another close battle is actually JP, who's just made a pass on Vessel. I was just watching the gap and something happened, so I think Vessel just made a bit of a mistake and the pass happened. If I changed the moment sooner, we would have seen it. It's now starting to get quite dark on the track.
Yeah, what happens now is the lap cars are getting past Adrian Null, so the DNF falls off the lap scoring monitor further and further. Peter Gelnys has gone past, so the next will be JP Sillier, and then Wessel Viljoen, then Gawie Gous still running, Stan Besaidnout, and Donny Stander is in fact 2 laps down. Yeah, the lights ablaze now, as I said earlier on. It'll be coming pretty soon when the track starts getting dark.
Let's see how the sunset is now affecting the drivers as we watch a lap and just see what part of the track it blinds them, if at all.
I was going to say, if it actually the sun is still high enough to be a factor.
It looks like it might be, the way it's lighted up
There
here.
it is. From the right.
They might turn into it now as they go through the bridge coming to the sunset. At the end of the bridge maybe.
The bridge shields a bit here, and there, I think the sun, there it is. A little bit of an effect, but they seem to have high banking for the crowds to sit. A bit of a moment there for Stanton. The back end stepping out, and he had to catch that, and that allowed Sean Olivier to get away a few car lengths.
Quite a lot. I wonder if his tyres have seen the best.
Now this gets to the point where you have to make a decision. Do I keep what I've got? Jason Underwood is 3.3 seconds behind Stanton. So all the way from the back of the grid, he's up into 5th. And that'll be interesting to see if he can actually still catch. Let's see, Jason has 3.3 seconds to catch Stanton. Last laps were a 151 by Jason and a 153, well, a 151.6. That's 1.5 seconds. So if you make it rounded off to 3 seconds, they're definitely going to do more than 2 laps. Jason Underwood has the chance of catching 4th, which is Stanton Augustus, and a very remote chance of catching Sean Olivier.
Right, so let's see what's happening at the front here. Genre is still right there. He was actually just under a second briefly.
That's the one that we mentioned a long time ago, it's 3.3 seconds, and he's just been nibbling away at it. There it is, first and second.
6 minutes to go. That's probably 4 laps roughly. Or probably, no, maybe 3 and a bit. Probably do 4 laps, I guess. Just under 2 minutes a lap, 6 minutes, so that's at least 3 laps. So yeah, 4 laps.
3 and a bit, yeah.
They'll probably come up to the line and just cross the line as the time runs out.
If you look at the last lap, as I was about to give you the last lap, it takes away the last lap of Jean-Ray Dutoit. But Chris Collison a 151.8, and I think Jean-Ray did a 151.6. So 0.2 of a second with a gap of 1.0. So I think maybe Chris is doing just enough to stay in the lead. Who knows?
And now there's a back marker in play as well.
Gets out of the way nicely.
Unless
Chris is going to draft the back marker, or he goes onto the racing line and the back marker gets off the racing line, which is well done, sir.
And of course is our title sponsor, which has just popped up on screen, well timed, IBFUSA. Need any crash analysis? They are the people to get hold of. They are the best in the business.
This is first and second. It's only a car length from back bumper to front bumper.
Yes, incredibly close now.
Oh, that's menacing when you just position your car to the outside of the car. It's not the racing line, but it's just a nuisance factor.
Just to let the driver know, I'm still here. I'm
Yeah.
closer than ever.
That 3.3 seconds is now 0.3 of a second.
Right, is he going to take a look? No, he's a bit too far back.
Luckily, this track has many straights that you can actually draft, and then many corners as well after those long straights that you can use for slipstreaming. The Americans talk about drafting. In South Africa, generally, we talk about slipstreaming. But there it's an art, because the way those cars are designed, you actually take the downforce off the back wing and you make the back end of the car, and running a continuous oval, the car becomes almost unmanageable when it doesn't have the downforce from the wing.
Yeah, and they set their camber so extreme that on the straights they have to turn the steering wheel quite aggressively to keep the car going straight, and then in the corner they can basically straighten it up and it turns itself. Quite a different experience.
Yeah, and this is only me, I'm not talking bad about oval racing, but it's something that I just don't see any excitement going round and round without any change.
I must say, it's not something I've been extremely fond of, but when you do a race and you're in a pack of, let's say, 10 guys and you're driving flat out where there's not much room for error, because the slightest lift you lose so much places, in many places, it's actually quite exhilarating when you're doing it. And maybe watching is not so exciting, but if you're driving, let's say, 3 abreast and you're doing, let's say, 250, 260 k's an hour, with a car on your outside, a car on your left, or inside, and the slightest movement you got to worry about the one car, then the other car, and you're driving it. Actually very, very exciting, that moment like that, and you do that, it's non-stop. It's actually a very, very different experience.
Yeah, Jean-Ray, I think, is running a different race technique to what he's normally been racing in an attempt to unsettle Chris. I think Chris is just holding his nerve for now. But this is for first and second with 2 minutes 20 to go. They'll probably do this lap, and if they go across the finish line, that'll be the start of the last lap.
Is this the start finish here? Then I think they're going to get another lap in, because it's 1 minute 50 a lap, so they will do this and one more lap.
Yes.
Yeah.
There Chris goes wide, and he's just got enough of the car up on the inside.
Oh, and Chris got on the dirt.
Yes, so Chris tucks into second place. We did forecast that Jean-Ray de Toy was just nibbling away at that lead little by little, and certainly he has made it pay and changing his driving style. I wouldn't say it's unsettled Chris. I just think that maybe the Aston has run out of grip, or Jean-Ray managed to look after the tires just that fraction better than what Chris has, unless Chris is going to come back, but immediately it goes to half a second, the difference between the two of them. So I think Chris is going to decide, I'm leading the championship already, I can let this car go and give the victory to Jean-Ray.
And one harder racing going backwards, this one definitely going forward. So Jason is up to 4th place, challenging for 3rd place. He's got Stanton right in front of him, so that could be a potential podium for Jason.
So that'll be podium 2nd and 3rd for Team Harder Racing.
Yes.
Yeah, and Stanton has, well, the previous race they made the tires last very well. That's actually a very credit-worthy race by Jason Underwood. If you consider he had to start back of the pack, and he's now in 4th challenging for 3rd, then he certainly has had a demon of a race so far.
I wonder if Chris's lack of pace at the moment is due to him struggling with his wheel being much heavier. Maybe the fatigue.
We can ask him in the interview whether that's made a difference.
Definitely we should, yeah. See Jason getting very squirrely there. I think that's lost just enough for him not to be on the tail of Stanton going into what should be the final lap. Though they might cross the line before the time runs out, so we might have the leaders do another lap, but this is, I think, the final lap for Jason as he comes up to the finish.
Oh, this is I'll give counter down 3, 2, 1.
Right, so they now cross the line.
So I don't think they crossed the line, the finish line. I think the finish line is further down the track than where they were. So I think their race is done, and first and second are on their last lap.
Well,
So
I think the checkered flag only comes out when the leader crosses and then everyone crosses and it finishes.
okay, I see what you mean. Yeah. So everybody is now on their last lap, and we were talking about the gap between Genre and Chris at being half a second. It's 1.3 seconds now. So 15 seconds further back is Stanton Augustus, and Jason, where he was very close, it's now just over a second that Jason is behind Stanton. So Stanton has held on for that third position for now. We'll see if it's going to end. Certainly Chris Collison is not to be written off. He's close enough that if Genre were to make a mistake, he's going to pounce on it as well. They're coming up to Harvey Gous, I think, again.
Yes.
Wait for the lights to go round. Yeah, that I think is Harvey Gous that they're approaching. It says DRS, so that tells me it's a long straight or a longish straight. So that'll give time for Harvey to see the cars approaching. He'll see the lights in his rearview mirror, and he'll probably stay wide up to the left of the corner. He's actually taking the racing line for now because they're far enough behind him, and he doesn't have to get out of the way as yet. He has a straight now, so he'll get out of their way and does so pretty well. Is that the finish?
It is. That is the victory then for Genre du Toit, taking victory over Chris Collison's second position, and Stanton will defend his third place. Jason will have to settle for fourth place and almost loses it there in the final corner. A little bit too much on the curb. Just behind him we have Sean Olivier coming across the line.
I think the gaps hereafter were there wasn't much of a challenge running, but I think driver of the day would probably go to Jason Underwood for his fourth place.
Yeah, that was a great drive through the field.
Yes, and also nice and clean, nothing overdone. I think there was a little bit of rubbing here and there, but nothing to tip the car around in front of you. But Genre du Toit, what a well-run race to make everything last as long as it did. We'll probably hear from Chris, and he'll say that with X number of laps to go, the tyres were gone and he was driving for survival. But certainly an interesting race. Just goes to show, endurance racing, some people say, yeah, it tends to get a bit boring, it becomes a procession, etc., etc. But certainly Jason Underwood, I think, took 2 or 3 positions in the last 5 or 6 laps, and Genre du Toit made the pass with 1 or 2 laps to go. So the race wasn't decided until 2 laps before the end.
Yeah. The Mercedes' lights definitely seem to be blazing a little bit brighter. I don't know if it's because they're bigger lights, physically bigger lights, but it certainly looks brighter.
Now the track also, when it got dark very quickly. So you need to have good lights on these cars, but as Stanton will tell you, they're used to running endurance races where you go from the light into the dark and out of the dark back into the light again. A la Le Mans, I think that must be very, very taxing on a driver. Especially the bit where you do get a bit of sleep and then you have to wake up and go and drive.
Wayne heading off the track, so I guess this race is over.
Oh,
let's head to an ad
something
break.
very solid.
Yes. He's obviously just decided to get up and walk away. So we're going to head to an ad break. We'll be back shortly with the interviews.
All right, see you then.
Are you or someone you know a victim of a car crash, or a legal professional seeking help in a crash investigation case? Look no further than IBF International. At IBFUSA, we specialize in at-scene crash evidence preservation, evidence analysis, crash reconstruction, and court testimony. We have over 20 years of experience in at-scene and post-event crash investigations in most of Southern Africa and the rest of the world. We not only provide assistance to crash victims and legal professionals, but we also offer training to those who wish to pursue a career in crash forensics. Our goal is to empower our clients with the knowledge and tools they need to navigate the often complicated world of crash investigations. Our slogan is IBF International. The facts speak for themselves, and we stand by it. We provide expert guidance and assistance to help you with insurance repudiation, expert testimony, and trial assistance. We believe that the facts should always be the driving force in any crash investigation, and we are guided as possible. If you're looking for an expert to guide you through a crash investigation, look no further than IBFUSA. For more information or to engage our services, visit our website at www.ibfusa.info. Are you or someone you know a victim of a car crash, or a legal professional seeking help in a crash investigation case? Look no further than IBF International. At IBFUSA, we specialize in at-scene crash evidence preservation, evidence analysis, crash reconstruction, and court testimony. We have over 20 years of experience in at-scene and post-event crash investigations in most of Southern Africa and the rest of the world. We not only provide assistance to crash victims and legal professionals, but we also offer training to those who wish to pursue a career in crash forensics. Our goal is to empower our clients with the knowledge and tools they need to navigate the often complicated world of crash investigations. Our slogan is IBF International. The facts speak for themselves, and we stand by it. We provide expert guidance and assistance to help you with insurance repudiation, expert testimony, and trial assistance. We believe that the facts should always be the driving force in any crash investigation, and we are committed to providing you with the most accurate and thorough analysis possible. If you're looking for an expert to guide you through a crash investigation, look no further than IBFUSA. For more information or to engage our services, visit our website at www.ibfusa.info. Are you or someone you know a victim of a car crash, or a legal professional seeking help in a crash investigation case? Look no further than IBF International. At IBFUSA, we specialize in at-scene crash evidence preservation, evidence analysis, crash reconstruction, and court testimony. We have over 20 years of experience in at-scene and post-event crash investigations in most of Southern Africa and the rest of the world. We not only provide assistance to crash victims and legal professionals, but we also offer training to those who wish to pursue a career in crash forensics. Our goal is to empower our clients with the knowledge and tools they need to navigate the often complicated world of crash investigations. Our slogan is IBF International. The facts speak for themselves, and we stand by it. We provide expert guidance and assistance to help you with insurance repudiation, expert testimony, and trial assistance. We believe that the facts should always be the driving force in any crash investigation, and we are committed to providing you with the most accurate and thorough analysis possible. If you're looking for an expert to guide you through a crash investigation, look no further than IBFUSA. For more information or to engage our services, visit our website at www.ibfusa.info. Are you or someone you know a victim of a car crash, or a legal professional seeking help in a crash investigation case? Look no further than IBF International. At IBFUSA, we specialize in at-scene crash evidence preservation, evidence analysis, crash reconstruction, and court testimony. We have over 20 years of experience in at-scene and post-event crash investigations in most of Southern Africa and the rest of the world. We not only provide assistance to crash victims and legal professionals, but we also offer training to those who wish to pursue a career in crash forensics. Our goal is to empower our clients with the knowledge and tools they need to navigate the often complicated world of crash investigations. Our slogan is IBF International. The facts speak for themselves, and we stand by it. We provide expert guidance and assistance to help you with insurance repudiation, expert testimony, and trial assistance. We believe that the facts should always be the driving force in any crash investigation, and we are committed to providing you with the most accurate and thorough analysis possible. If you're looking for an expert to guide you through a crash investigation, Look no further than IBFUSA. For more information or to engage our services, visit our website at www.ibfusa.info.
Right, welcome back everybody. That is now the completion of our IBF GT3 World Series Round 3 from Twin Ring MOTEGI. We've done our sprint race, we've done our feature race, and joining us on the podium today we have Chris Collison in first place, Jean-Ray Dutoy in second place, and Stanton Augustus in third place. We also have another person joining us, which we'll get to in a moment. But Chris, great result from you tonight. Absolutely dominating the series at the moment. You thankfully were beaten for the first time, so good to have Jean-Ray giving you a hard time in race 2, but getting the overall, I think that's probably because of maybe fastest laps and qualifying on pole, but you just managing to pip the result. You seem to be losing pace towards the end of the race there, and before the race you were telling us about a new upgrade to a direct drive wheel. Was your fatigue becoming a problem, or were you just taking it easy towards the end?
No, the fatigue was fine. It was absolutely fine. Congratulations to Jean-Ray. What a drive. I went on medium tyres today, which was a bit of a risk. I thought that they would drop off towards the end, which they did, but not to blame the tyres. I mean, Jean-Ray was relentless. He was always somewhere in my mirrors, and he picked me off at the end and deserved the win, and fair play to him. As for my new equipment, I absolutely loved it. Really enjoyed it, and it was a fantastic race tonight.
Great, thanks Chris. And then Jean-Ray, you had a fantastic day today, having won the inaugural Namibian race. So fantastic result there. Coming into this, the sprint race wasn't quite the way you would probably like it to go, but certainly in the feature race, you definitely showed your pace. You held it right till the end, just kept your consistency, picking off Chris there, I think, on the second last lap. So absolutely fantastic result.
Yeah, no, it was I really enjoyed the racing. There was some close racing. Arjan behind me really pushed me, and I could see slowly but surely we were starting to catch Chris, but I knew I just had to keep it on track because my wrists are absolutely destroyed. But overall, it was a really fun series. Fantastic
result. And Stanton, also a great result for yourself. You also were involved in a battle or two there. We saw Adrian Nell having quite a few battles with the drivers, giving him a hard time, not easing up, and I think it was Sean Olivier that gave him the hardest time when they rubbed doors through a couple of corners, which was fantastic to see how clean they kept it and just giving themselves enough room. And then you ended up getting involved where at some point they were quibbling and you managed to get past, and then you hung in there and ended up with a great third result.
Oh yes, yeah, thanks mate. Let me first start to say congratulations to Chris and Jean-Ray. Jean-Ray, good drive there mate. Good guys, good Chris. Jason yourself also, good drive from the back there. Not an ideal race for me today. I struggle a lot on the mediums. We opted to go mediums because it was the ideal tie, but I had to be more aggressive to defend. But and that just gave me a higher tire dig. Motegi is such a technical track. Really battling today, but it was good fun. I really enjoyed the track and really hard racing, clean racing also from the guys. So yeah, I can't complain about the P3. Thanks.
Pleasure and great result. Then another driver that we have with us, which is voted driver of the day by us, we have Jason Underwood joining us. Jason, fantastic result. You unfortunately missed the first race due to work commitments, but you were able to join us for the second race and started stone last on the grid, or I think second last on the grid. which I believe was 20th position, and you managed to work your way up to 4th. So fantastic drive. How was it coming through the field? Did you enjoy the transition from daylight to nighttime?
Hi there, everyone. Yeah, it was a bit of a rush to try and get back from my cricket match this evening. But yeah, it was actually quite fun, to be honest. More overtakes in one race than probably a couple of seasons together, which was very nice. Different aspect of racing, which obviously, but I don't obviously want to do it that way. I want to be up in the front fighting with those fast guys. But yeah, it was very nice. And then going into the nighttime, different dimension to it, very nice. And yeah, so the different track temperatures come into it, which adds a different element where as drivers we've got to take into consideration. But other than that, yeah, that was fun. I really enjoyed it, and well done to the top 3.
Congratulations. All right, then, Sean, would you like to ask the drivers any questions before we say goodnight?
I'll just ask one quick question to Stanton, because he was on the mediums. Was tyre wear a big factor towards the end? That's the one question. And the other one, was fuel at any stage something to be considered? Or was the fact that you're at full throttle for so long on this circuit, did you ever consider that you'd run out of fuel?
Fuel not a problem, definitely not. We went for the mediums, but not ideal for defending and attacking the way I did. Tire deg was far too high. I really battled at the end there. That was all tire degradation. But yeah, I held out for the P3. But yes, the mediums was touch and go. There was a bit of debate about using the mediums for this track, but yeah, we made it last to the end there. So, but it was touch and go.
And then let me just ask Genre, the fact that the track cooled down, I should imagine, with the sun fading, was that a factor that you could actually detect, or were the tires so gone by then that you were just actually racing for the finish?
On the hards, it seemed pretty fine. I could consistently put in a pretty good lap. I think on lap 24, I did my fastest lap. So the hards really worked. When the track cooled down, you could feel it a bit, but I had enough grip to keep pushing.
That's much it from me, Dennis.
All right, then we'll say goodnight. We've had a bit of a delay tonight, so trying to keep it as short as possible. Unfortunately, this didn't go out live, so we will be uploading this to YouTube shortly. If you guys want to watch it, you'll have to probably wait half an hour or 20 minutes before it's uploaded to the channel. But thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining, and congratulations once again to Chris, Genre, and Stanton for their podium, and to Jason on his drive of the day. That was a fantastic drive. And we will catch you all at the next round, which will be Imola, the Grand Prix circuit, one of the most amazing tracks. I think it's one of the top tracks in the world. So we'll catch you all at Imola in a week's time. So until then, good evening and have a great week.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you. Good night. Cheers.